Everyone should see a bar running along the top of their screen. I will be indeed recording this session. They, like the rest of my classes, will get uploaded to a YouTube channel that I will link to in the recap that I send out to everybody that registered for the class, as well as any links to any assets or things like that that I'll be talking about during today's session. Some general housekeeping tips before we get started. Please remember to keep your microphone muted throughout the entirety of the class, out of respect for everybody that is in the class, just to make sure we have no interruptions. I will take all questions at the end of the session. If you want to type something in the chat window, so you don't forget anything, please feel free to do so. I will address all chat questions at the end of the session as well. For those of you who do not know who I am, my name is Anuj. I am the field marketing specialist in Santa Cruz and Monterey County, and today we will be going over a 100 level look at Adobe Premiere Pro. Adobe Premiere Pro is a video editing software, much like an iMovie or Movie Maker or Avid, that has the capabilities to be anything from your basic video editing software suite to a fully complete video editing studio if you need it to be. You can do everything from simple stuff to it is an industry standard. A lot of everyone's favorite television shows are edited using this same software. Now, Adobe Premiere is not free and is not provided by Coldwell Banker. However, I will link to a free trial everybody can use to get started. It is a software that I am very familiar with and I like to use. I think it is a great asset if you guys want to think about incorporating it into your marketing strategy as a part of how you are putting materials together for the various channels that you are advertising, not only your business and brand on, but even just your community and everything that you're doing in regards to video and photo marketing can kind of happen out of this system, either with Premiere Pro or other programs in the suite. Let's go ahead and I think that's everything I wanted to discuss. I've got the video recording. We're going to go ahead and dive in. I am going to be sharing my screen. And just to get started, I'm going to show a couple of quick things out of the gate. So let's go ahead and I'm going to share this to start. So obviously we're looking at CB Desk. This is the link just for anybody that's not familiar with this software at all. It's one of the Adobe's Creative Cloud software suites. This is their primary video editing tool. As I said, there is a free trial. I know that they had pushed for a extension on it. I think right now it is only a 7-day free trial. However, it is something to get you started. And as you can see there are costs associated. You can buy the software from Adobe. We're not going to get into the weeds of that. And before I also dive into anything, for those of you that have taken my YouTube class, or for anyone that is also looking to get into video editing and you're looking for where can I find royalty-free music and sound effects to utilize in these videos if I were thinking of doing so. Because in my example that I'm going through today, we will add some music to the video we are editing in my sample that can easily be grabbed from your YouTube account. So I'm going to quickly show you where those things live. In the YouTube studio, if you go there, you will see an audio library right down here on the very end of your menu. Clicking on this will take you to a library of both free music and sound effects that you can download to your computer and utilize for all of your video editing needs. Now, that little bit of homework out of the way, what is the primary steps to getting comfortable with this software and kind of editing something in it? It all really starts, and for those of you that have taken other classes of mine, you know I'm a big fan of preparation and having all of your pieces lined up before you dive into a project. And this is no different. If you really want to be successful at utilizing this software, you need to make your workflow something that is organized and easily managed. And when I say workflow, what we're talking about is the process in which all of your files for your videos will be organized. You should be implementing a very similar strategy across all of the aspects of your marketing. So if this is something new to you, I would open up a discussion with your field marketing specialist to talk about how you can better manage the workflow of your marketing campaigns. This is not new to you. I'm going to go ahead and get started on what you should be thinking about in regards to your videos. So we're going to go to my dashboard real quick and not my dashboard, my desktop. Sorry. Going to my desktop real quick, and I am going to
Hey,
create.
Nish, I hate
Yes.
to, I hate to pause you, but I am curious of how this relates sort of with iMovie and like when you kind of want to
So
like,
I'm
hey,
going to
this is
cut you
where
off there. We're going to I'll take questions like that at the end of the session. Just because of time constraints, I really want to get through the session. Type it into the chat if you're worried you're going to forget about it. Uh, Going ahead and moving on, we're going to dive back to my desktop where we're going to talk about the video I'm going to edit today. We're going to do something simple in relation just to kind of get you guys familiarized with how this software operates. And again, this is all a very 100 level. So we're going to take something that I shot on my cell phone that I want to include in my Clients for Life e-blast. So I'm going to be just doing some simple things like adding music behind the video and editing it to start and end smoothly. So all of those things that are going to be required for that in regards to what I'm making are a video that I shot on my cell phone and the music I want to utilize in said video. So what we're going to do is I've already taken those things and put them into a folder. The folder I have just created is going to be whatever is I'm thinking of calling the video. This, for example, is for my Clients for Life campaign. I like to work with things by date, so I'm just going to name it by date. Now, I put this on my desktop. The larger grand plan would be to have this subfolder organized as a part of a larger folder that you have your marketing videos in. Now, you don't have to keep this on your desktop. You could keep it in your videos folder. You could keep it in your documents folder, wherever you want to keep this. But there should be one place where you are hubbing all of the content. Again, for workflow and organization purposes, especially when we are talking about importing these things into Premiere Pro for work purposes, we're going to want to make sure that everything is well managed on the back end in regards to organizing these files, so you don't have to jump back and forth, or even worse, around your computer to multiple folders to try and locate everything you want to use for a specific video. This is just a way to prevent headaches and, again, make the process of using this software happen a lot simpler. So I've gone ahead and made a marketing videos folder. I'm going to have it on my desktop. And in here, I'm going to have saved a group of everything I need. I've got a little bumper that I have for the videos that I put onto my channel that is something specific to my business. This is just so I can show an example of adding multiple video clips to a stream. If you guys don't have this, you can just edit a simple video. Again, I've got everything I need for this one, right? I've got my intro, I've got my music, and I've got my video that I shot on my phone. I went ahead and uploaded it from my phone to my OneDrive using my OneDrive app, and then downloaded it to my computer, again, using OneDrive. You could use any cloud storage partner. If you have an iPhone, you can use your iCloud or AirDrop it to your computer. If you want to use Google Drive or Dropbox, anything like that will allow you to easily get a video off of your phone and move it to your computer without worrying about degrading the quality of the video in any way. Now that the video's here, I'm going to do something to make, again, talking about making my life really simple. I'm going to go ahead and rename this video whatever I want it to be to best suit, again, my needs for my editing. So this is Clients for Life May. I did that by now, once the video is saved and downloaded into my computer, I right click and rename the video. Everything is set. This is all the stuff that I'm going to need. Let's go ahead and dive into Premiere Pro. So I'm going to go ahead and open my software. It's probably going to take just a quick second to open. And we'll go over the best ways to now utilize all of the stuff we've set in preparation to manage the workflow and edit the video in this system. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen real quick and get this software open. I think I'm just having some delays because of all of the stuff I am doing on my computer right now, so I apologize about that. This is the first time I am running through this course, so give me one quick sec as I try and get the application open. It is a fairly large piece of software. And actually, I will use this opportunity to pause. And Paul, you can go ahead if you put it in the chat, or if you want to ask, okay, if you can put this into context when you use Adobe versus iMovie. So in regards to iMovie, I know that it's a fairly basic editing video software, and I know there is a lot of stuff that can be done in it. I am not very familiar with iMovie as a whole. I am far more familiar with the Adobe software suite, so that's what I'm running us through. So unfortunately, I can't give you too much of a comparison. Corel Videostudio. So I actually do know a little bit about Corel Videostudio. This, as far as workflow and management, will kind of operate the same. You'll just get a lot more, what's the word I'm looking for? A lot more creative tools to be able to leverage out of the Adobe software suite. I really do apologize, guys. I'm going to pause real quick. Genevieve is here to answer any quick questions while I disappear. I'm going to try and just hop off the call real quick, see if I can get the software open, and then jump back on. Give me 2 minutes. Quick apologies. Again, I'll be right back. Go ahead and...
Hello, everyone. I'm Genevieve. I'm assisting Anuj right now. His software did crash, so he's rebooting it right now. So he should be back in a little bit less than 2 minutes. Technology right now.
Success. We are back from the commercial break and now back to your scheduled program. All right. So going into the Adobe software suite. Let's see if I can get this to show properly. All right. So once you open Adobe, when you open Adobe Premiere Pro, this is the first thing you are going to see. And actually, before I jump into this 100%, let me just make sure we're recording. We are recording. I am just going to go ahead and mute everybody one more time. Mute all right. And back to it. Okay, when you land on the dashboard, let's get rid of that. First thing you're going to see is your project area. We're going to create a new project for whatever video you're going to do. And actually, before we do this, there's one more thing that I would always recommend we do, so we're going to go into the folder that we created on our desktop for our marketing video. So this specific one for the 13th of May, which is today, I'm going to create one more new folder in here. And it's going to be an empty folder we're going to call project. This way, we will manage everything about the file we are editing, all of the autosaves, all of the exports, everything like that will happen right in that folder with that video. That's how I like to operate in my workflow. It keeps everything consistent and grouped. However, if you guys find a system that works better for you, feel free to do so. To change where that video is being saved, because obviously I just talked about having it go to a specific place, the default is going to be the Adobe Premiere folder created by the software when it was installed. What we do is right underneath the name, so the name of the file is going to be May Clients for Life. We've got our title in there. Now this location tab right underneath that is what I'm going to click on. I'm going to hit browse, and much like a save as function on anything that you download or save to your computer, we're going to head and go to where we want this project to be saved. I'm going to hit desktop. From there, I go into my marketing videos, into the video folder that I want, and the project will go into the folder titled project. Select folder, everything has been set. Do not worry about any of these settings here. Those are beyond a 100 level discussion. Everything you want to build about your sequence will happen automatically in regards to simple video edits. So now that we're in here, all that's been set. I know where everything is going to go. It's going to all be managed, where I have all of my assets coming from, and I know where everything is going to get saved. We hit OK, and we will launch into the workspace. Now, this is a spot where practice is really going to make perfect. I'm going to talk about what kind of lives where, but this is a software that is catered to its user. So there's a default, which is pretty close to what I have my setup like when you first open the software. But these windows can be adjusted, moved around, and rearranged by the user to best meet their needs. I'm not going to go into a whole lot of the rearranging because, again, that's really a big, beyond a 100 level discussion. What I am going to do is talk about what lives where, and then how we will do the simple function of editing a video for quick use in your social media or any kind of e-blast like we're doing in my example. First things first is you're going to see this big left sequence right here. Actually, before I dive into that, let's talk about the menu bar along the very top. First thing you're going to see on the very left is a learning tab. This is something that is really cool about Adobe. I will actually link to a page that has tons of videos that break down everything from overviews, basics, different creative styles, all the way to advanced things like adding animation and custom title sequences within the software itself. So there's all kinds of great stuff made available right here by Adobe and through their Help platform that I will share. Hitting assembly, which is the one next to learning, is going to bring the media browser into play. And that is the icon that was right underneath this first one I was talking about. So right down here is where media gets assembled. And that essentially means your workflow is imported from that section to be edited in this software. These tabs at the top, as you notice when I clicked them, kind of change the layout based on their section. So assembly is all built around focusing on bringing stuff into the program. Hitting editing will rearrange the space. This is the primary spot you'll end up working in, and it's the default that it opens up to. This is where you can manage all of the aspects of the program from one quick get-go. You've got your import section. This is where any kind of editing will happen, any audio adjustments, any video adjustments, you will see come up as an option here. The actual preview and sequence timeline will show up right here in regards to a preview, but the actual working timeline is right down here. This is where the media that we import will come into and get broken down into different video files as well as different audio files for your editing needs. And then I have a color panel open up here, but if I close it, it'll go away. Adding new panels is done in the very top section. Just like any standard program, you've got your file button. This will allow you to open new projects, to open old projects, close this project, save a copy, import things and export things when we're done. We're going to get into the exporting stuff in just a bit. Edit, copy, paste, all of these functions are obviously fairly standard. And then it starts to get a little bit more detailed, things about the specific clip you're selecting and the sequence that you're editing, markers that you want to add into the timeline. These are a bit more advanced stuff we're not going to really get into today. But again, just for layout purposes, I want you guys to know what lives where. Graphics is that next spot. View will give you the playback resolution. You can view stuff at half, quarter, or a 16th resolution, meaning you can preview stuff in a really low quality to put less stress on your computer during the editing process. As I mentioned before, and as our technical difficulty displayed, this is a large piece of software. This is we're going to do some basic editing in here, and it is a great tool for everything from basic editing all the way up to professional editing. As I said, TV shows, films, all kinds of professional things are also edited out of the same software. It can do everything in between. And because of that, it takes up a lot of space and a lot of operating space on your system when it's running. So a way to save some of that so your computer doesn't lag too hard or crash during the process would be to turn these numbers down to whatever best functions for your machine. Window will allow you, as you can see, certain things are already checked by default. These are all of these windows that we were looking at earlier. Things like, for example, that color one that I closed, if I select Lumetri color, it will bring that color icon back. And all of this stuff will be editable once there is a clip in the system. I think that's enough of a tour. What we're going to do now is go ahead and get something imported to get started. I've talked a lot about making sure that workflow is prepared and ready to go ahead of time, because that's a lot of using the software. Because now that I'm ready to use it, I'm going to go ahead and click, actually double click, I should say, right on this section, this window here, our import media to start. We double click on that and it's going to bring up a window which will allow us to, just like you were opening a file, to import whatever we need for this specific project. I'm going to go into my marketing videos, into my folder for today, and I am going to grab the 3 assets I need: my music, my bumper, and my actual recorded video. We hit open, and all 3 of these things will import into our field. Now, a great way to get started is to just take your main video, whatever, if you're using multiple videos, like I am in my case, I've got an edited video that is the bumper, and then I've got my main video, which is the actual message that I'm sending for my clients for life email. Once you've got your primary video selected, what we're going to do is right click on it and hit New Sequence from Clip. This will populate that into our timeline. And the really cool thing about that is it's going to automatically adjust all of the settings to the camera settings that the video was imported. Well, not camera settings, I should say, to the settings of the video that you are importing into. What does that mean necessarily? For example, if you were to go up here and let's say go and start a new sequence. I don't know if it'll let me start a new sequence now that I've started one. But for example, if you started a new sequence without choosing the video, it will ask you to adjust a ton of settings, things like frame rate, light aperture, ISO. None of those things need to be handled if you just start the sequence from that clip. It will all, as you can see, create anchor points and scale the video appropriately for your workspace. And then any other video that I put into match, like my bumper, will adjust accordingly to my sequence settings. As you can see, I wonder if I can zoom in a little bit. Fortunately, I can't, but I will try and think about that for my next rerun of this class. Hopefully this isn't too small, but in this, see if I can blow this up a little bit. In this timeline section, you can see we've got several channels right here. In your timeline, as you can see, there's a video 1, which is that main video that I've added in already. And with that video came the audio from my cell phone, and that is under audio 1. You can add multiple video and audio to layer. Again, when it comes to what you're trying to do, you can layer different elements and have them on these separate channels. You can lock the tracks, making them unmovable or editable by toggling the lock on and off. As you can see, when I lock something, it gets grayed out, so it won't be fussed with as I'm changing other things around it. It's important to know because, again, it'll help you from hurting yourself in a complicated project if you accidentally want to select multiple items and delete or edit things, and you accidentally select something that you didn't want to. Going back to editing our video. So now that we are in here with our main section, we can actually, as you can see, I can select, you can select just by both of them by clicking, holding, and dragging and selecting both our items, or you can choose individual ones. And as you can see right here, the editing field in our top left will change appropriately for what we're looking at. So video will give us video editing options. Audio will give us audio editing options. And it starts very simple with just the left and right channels and volume, as well as a balance for the audio. And on the video, it starts simple with a scale, so you can zoom the video in and out if need be. You can reposition the video if you'd like by adjusting the points up here or on the corners. I had kind of zoomed it a little bit. Let me zoom it out, and you can see now by scale, I can adjust the position by dragging different points up and down as well. And you can also remap the time just as a basic edit if you wanted to, for example, show a time lapse. You can run something at 300% speed and it will time lapse it. Those are absolute basic functions. Now, doing more to these videos requires selecting one of the built-in effects that are made available for this system. So let's say the first thing I want to do is if I play this video.
Hey everybody, happy May. This is Anuj reaching out again with my Clients for Life email, wanting to check in.
As you can see, it starts abruptly, and it will also end abruptly with me.
Hope everyone's staying healthy, and I'll see you next time.
Going to turn off the camera. If we don't want to see any of that, we can fade the audio in and out and fade the picture in and out. Simple effects like that and a ton of other ones are already built into the system and are great. Again, this is one of those software that is a great way to get your hands in and dive around and be creative. All of that stuff that's built into the system lives right in our import field where we would imported all of our media. I'm going to go ahead and make this section a little bit bigger, and we're going to click on effects, and you will get to a window here. So we started with our project and all of the files that we were importing, and we're going to go ahead and go to effects now. And we can choose, you can see there are audio effects, there are color presets, audio transitions, video effects, and video transitions. Again, for simple purposes, all we want to do is make it a little bit more smooth on the start and finish. And using all of the effects in this system are just as easy as I will be demonstrating. So first things first, I want the video to fade in and out. I'm going to go to Video Transitions and go to the Dissolve package, and I can do a film dissolve. We just click and hold a left click on the item we want. And as you can see, it drags over, and I can drag it right on top of the beginning of my video sequence like so. And you will see now when I hit play to preview that sequence, and I'm previewing it at half resolution,
Hey,
the video now fades in from black. Now, if you want to adjust how long and how deep that takes place, we can change the scale of our timeline with this little bar right underneath it. What you are using to scroll left and right in that timeline can also be adjusted. As you can see, it goes from an arrow to a finger. When I click on it as a finger, I can shift it and stretch the time. So now I can see that clip, and each second is broken out a lot longer. And I can take that specific filter, and if I wanted to double click it, right now it is lasting about a second. If I change it to 3,
hey everybody.
you can see that black will take just a tad longer to go to apply. Also, you can see as I hover over the icon, I can select that film dissolve specifically, and it brings up a start and end. You can also edit that time frame right here as well. Same thing for the audio. Now I am going to go to audio transitions in my effect, go into crossfades, and go to exponential fade, which is what it sounds like, an exponential growth from nothing or an exponential shrink to nothing. It will automatically adjust from the beginning or end of a sequence for you. Again, all we have to do is select what we want, drag it over, drop it onto the audio section. And same thing, when I select that specific effect, I will see a bar drop in for how long it takes place. I could adjust it to 2 seconds. And now the audio will fade in like the picture.
Hey everybody. Happy May. This is Anuj.
Now, let's say beyond that, I want to turn the volume down on this a little bit, or even pull up a mixing board to make adjustments. You could do something as creative as that by, again, we can collapse the audio transitions. Let's go to audio effects, and we can grab a channel mixer, grab it, drag it right onto our audio file, and you'll see a mixer pop up right here onto the editing plane. If I drop down the individual parameters, we can look left to right. You can edit to default presets. You can make all kinds of great adjustments. There's also, things like graphic equalizers, 10, 20, 30 bands. You can invert sound. You can have de-hummers, de-hissers. You can automatic click removers. All this kind of stuff is already built into the system. And every time you drag something over, like a graphic equalizer, drag it, drop it onto the audio, you will see it be added right here to our effects panel. And I can collapse whatever I wasn't using and now look at the equalizer if I wanted to make any adjustments here. And it will all happen live in your video. Again, you have a set of presets also built into the system. Along with those editing features, obviously I've been selecting, dragging, dropping things all over this program. Between these two systems, if you guys had noticed, there is another bar. I'm going to make it bigger right now because this is what we're talking about, that has a bunch of handy quick tools. The one I've been using this whole time is the selection tool. This, obviously, like it sounds like, will allow us to select things. You've also got a track select forward tool, which is something only eligible on the timeline, as well as a ripple edit tool. A ripple edit tool will collapse time on a video. So if I had multiple videos in here and I deleted a section of one, I could ripple edit and close the time automatically between the two instead of having to grab and adjust the videos by hand. Razor is what it sounds like. It will allow you to pick things along the timeline and just click and make a new cut. So you can adjust two separate videos or cut something out to delete, remove. If I made that cut, I could select this video, drag it out, replace it with something. There's all kinds of great things you can do there. I'm going to remove those because I don't want to do that for this video. You can also add a type tool to add text to a video if you would like to add text to something. It will add a additional card on the timeline that you can then jump into and make edits to. It's essentially a graphic, so you would edit that in the graphic section. Now that I've clicked that, it's going to adjust. I am going to go back, however. As you can see, when I'm in the graphic section, there's a bunch of templates that are already in here. Much like everything with Adobe, there's tons of stock templates that you can utilize. The software is really built, again, to be what the user needs it to be. I'm getting a little into the weeds now on a little bit more complicated stuff. I'm going to stop that and get back to the task at hand. But obviously, those are just some of those quick edit tools. I'm going to go back to the effects by, again, selecting the items here. If anything you can't see, like the effect right now is just out of my click, there are two arrows right next to all of the items that are listed there, and that will allow you to scroll and choose what you want. I want the effects. I'm going to go back up in here, close that folder. I need to do the same thing to the end, but I want to cut out that extra time.
And I'll see you next time.
That has me closing my video. So I'm going to go ahead and go right to where my video should start to fade out.
You know, if you need me, staying healthy, and I'll see you next time.
Right there. And I'm going to minimize my timeline to make it easy to work with. And all I have to do is now, see, I've got the hand tool on. I need to go back to the selection tool so I can grab both the audio and the video. And you can see these little red clipping icon pop up. It will allow you to select and shrink that video file right to the point we want it to end. And now I can go grab my video transition, put my film dissolve right there on the end, and I can put my audio fade out on the end. And now when I play the end,
take care. Hope everyone's staying healthy, and I'll see you next time.
Nice clean close. I am going to increase my timeline again just to make everything big and easy to work with. Let's say I wanted to add my bumper into the beginning, which is another video file. So I am going to go ahead and drag this. I know I want it to go before this video. So I'm selecting everything because I want my audio and video to stick together. You can tell when anything's selected, by the way. See how it's not highlighted? Now, if I just click audio is highlighted. If I just click on the video gets highlighted. Again, you can tell by what shows up in the editor there. If I select both will show up. I can grab and just shift them over a little bit, and I'm going to move it about 35 seconds out of the way just so I can dump something right at the beginning. I go back to what is now our effects tile. We're going to click on projects, and we can grab both. I needed to add music underneath this too, right? So I can grab both my additional video and just drag and hold, and you can see it drop right into place. And that's got a little, a little bumper, for example. Let's say I don't need the audio for this, but I want to keep the video. I can select that audio specifically and just hit my delete button on my keyboard, and just like that, it is gone. And when I preview this file, now I'm only looking at the video clip specifically associated with that bumper that I added in, and the audio is disappeared. And let's say I decided now I actually don't want this at the beginning, I want it at the end. All we have to do is use our selection tool. I can drop this on a different time stream, select these, move it back up to the very front of the video, and drag this and move it to the very end. And you'll see little quick markers pop in. The first one is before the fade. The second one is after the fade. And I can either have it on a separate time stream or on the same one. But again, as long as it's running right after,
and I'll see you next time.
It will slide right into it. Or I can adjust them because I know that there's a small fade already built in, and they'll kind of overlap just a hair. There's all kinds of things that you can do. If you add a space in between them, there'll be a blank space where nothing happens between the two clips. Again, it's whatever you're trying to do. So I've got that now loaded in, and I'm going to go ahead and drag my music, which is the MP3 file I saved, and drag it right into that audio number 2 underneath everything that I've got here. And as you can see, that audio file is huge. I'm going to zoom and make everything small. It is way longer than my whole video. Well, all we have to do is select that audio file. And again, we can go hover right to the end of it with this clip tool, click and slide it, and you can see it shrink and snap right to wherever we need it to snap to. I can snap it to the end of my video, or because I don't have any audio running along my bumper at the end, I can snap it to run right along my bumper. And then the important thing is, now we've got 2 streams of audio.
Wave is a great resource.
It'll be really loud, and we want the music just to be underneath me. So I'm going to select the music as a whole. The quick editing stuff is right here. So all I have to do is move my cursor off of the video clip, because if you leave the cursor somewhere, it will make the edit right at the timestamp the cursor is on. I want to adjust the volume for the whole video, or the whole audio, sorry, along the entirety of the video. So I'm going to select not my voice audio, which is the one that came in with my initial import, but the audio that I dragged in just now to accompany my whole video. I have selected that. The time marker is not on any specific point, so we're editing the thing as a whole. And I'm just going to go ahead and turn the level by clicking to open up the whole panel. I'm going to turn this down maybe about 85%. Now we can test it by just picking a point in my video.
We went over a bit about how the program's going to change this month.
Obviously too quiet. Move it back up. And again, trial and error.
I'm including a ton of great activities, and not only that, but things you can do at
Again, too quiet. Moving it back up.
home to better your household or apartment condo, kind of tight.
And let's say I want to keep it just a little softer than that, but only have the video coming out of, or audio, I should say, coming out of the left channel. So we can go ahead and go to balance and move it all the way to the left. So my voice is coming out of both speakers, but the background music is only coming out of the left.
Up the lifestyle a little bit. Feel like you make some measurable improvements here or there, or even just if you want to play a game.
Got everything I want there. Again, I cut that video to end randomly. So to make sure that's not abrupt, I'm going to go back to the audio transition, put my fade out right at the end. So now when the video ends, that music that you can barely hear right there will fade out appropriately. But now, obviously, we want to adjust so that there's volume associated with the blank space right here. How do we do that? It's just as easy as going to the cut tool, that razor tool. We're going to select the point right where our audio ends for the talking that I'm doing. I'm going to go ahead and use I'm going to zoom in to make it easier to edit so we can find that breakpoint, that cut that I just made. Now there's two separate audio files, one running at a low volume and one that we're going to increase back over to a normal volume. And then we can fade the two by grabbing our exponential fade that we've been throwing on and off of the ends and slapping it right onto that cut, and it's going to fade the two together for us.
And I'll see you next time.
Now, it seems like we can have that happen a little earlier. So all I got to do is drag it Actually, what we're going to do is remove that cut, and we're going to drag our audio volume change earlier. So I'm going to move this here, and I'm going to stretch this here. And we bring those two clips back together, put that fade right in the middle, and we can, again, test to see how it sounds.
And I'll see you next time.
If we want to make that a little bigger, instead of 1 second, I can make it 3 seconds. We can change the alignment instead of at the center of the cut, at the start of the cut, or at the end of the cut. I'm going to leave it at the center. I'm going to change this to 3 seconds, not 30. And test.
Take care. Hope everyone's staying healthy, and I'll see you next time.
Now it does what I want it to do. So we've done some simple things here. We've added a video, we've added fade in, fade out, audio in, audio out. All of that is set. Let's say we want to save this and export that video so we can utilize it. What do? We go ahead. Now, first things first, this has been auto-saving. The default should be auto-saving this your timeline for you about every minute or 5, depending on your computer and your settings. You can always go in and save or save as if you need to change the name. And again, put it either in that project folder or put it wherever you need it to go. To get a finished video, all you have to do is click File, go to Export, and hit Media. Once you've hit Media, you're going to get to the export settings. There is a lot in here. You do not need to adjust a lot of this if you don't want to, or if you're worried about screwing with the settings too much. The output name is always going to be whatever the project name is. You can click on that and change it to whatever you need it to be. Don't worry about the format or the presets. That will happen on its own. In the video panel, you can scroll up and down. It will automatically adjust things like the quality of the video. For example, my cell phone takes 1280p video. So the output my computer can handle is 1280p by 720. So that's what this video is going to be. Again, frame rate, field order, aspect ratio, all already managed by the settings when I created the project and imported my video file into the program. All that's already done. Now, The only thing you're going to want to go in here and play with is this bitrate settings. I will include this in my recap, but you just want to go in here and change that number from 10 to about 16. The bit rate is essentially like the refresh rate at which the video processes itself. I'm not going to get too technical into the weeds about what that means at all, but 16, between 16 and 18 is right about where videos will be optimized for YouTube, and YouTube is probably the platform you guys will most likely be using to host your videos for mass use online. So 16 is your magic number, anywhere between 16 and 18. Audio is the only other thing you're going to look at in here, and you just want to make sure that it's set to stereo and your audio quality is set to high, and the bit rate should be at 320. Those settings should be defaulted like that. Again, you can choose MPEG or AAC audio codecs. Don't fuss with those. AAC is a widely universal type that is used by all kinds of devices. Same with MPEG, but the AAC audio quality is a little bit higher. Leave that as it is. The only things you're going to touch is you're going to want to check the box, use maximum render quality, check the box, use previews, and that's it. Everything else is set to work on its own. Time range of the edit, you can choose entire sequence, or you can have the way the frame goes in and out. The default is always going to be the sequence itself, which is the project you are working on. And to get it completed, you click on this export button. And just like that, the file will go ahead and render. This isn't a particularly long video. I did that on purpose so we could take a look at it finishing together. This should only take about, as it says, a couple of minutes. But in the grand scheme of things, that is how you operate yourself in this software. I will, again, include a link to the recording of this class in a recap with a bunch of notes and links to other resources to work in Adobe Premiere Pro. But the main goals here were just to get you guys familiar with what lives where and some of the best practices to manage that workflow to make this process really easy. I've noticed, and in a lot of my professional experience, both in Coldwell Banker and before Coldwell Banker, is that a lot of people struggle with this purely just on a workflow side. The project's not organized and they have trouble finding where videos are living, where their audio is supposed to be. And then it makes organizing your timeline really hard because you're constantly moving around to import and export different files into the program. And obviously I didn't do any of that because I did the process of organizing everything before I even got in here. Just like you should do with anything that you are operating in. And you can start to think about how this becomes a larger part of your marketing strategy for any given moment, whether it's editing down live tours, editing videos for clients for life, like I'm doing in this purpose, or editing community videos, or whatever the case may be. Once that video is done, it has exported. I had it export right to my desktop. Again, you can have it drop right into that project folder if you want, and it's ready to play.
Hey everybody, happy May. This is Anuj reaching out again with my Clients for Life email, wanting to check in, see how everyone...
And it goes all the way to the end. And just like that, your video is edited. You can then post this to your YouTube, like unlisted, like I have for my Clients for Life emails, and then embed it wherever you need it to go. I am going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen and open up the floor for questions, as well as check the chat for questions. I thank everybody for being here today right out of the gate. before I take any questions, it's the first time I am teaching this class, so you guys are my guinea pigs. Some of you that have been in multiple classes of mine, like Paul, know that they get better after I've had a couple of times to workshop them. But I hope everybody found this really valuable, and if there are any questions, feel free to fire away. I am going to go ahead and look through the chat, but as I said, feel free to unmute yourself. Pricing, I'm going to see, is recommend the whole Creative Cloud or just Premiere Pro if purchased? So that's a great question, Paul. Now, the Premiere Pro software is only about $30. I think it's $30 a month, if I am not mistaken. Or it could be $30 a year. Let me double check real quick. But in regards to whether you want to purchase the whole, so the Creative Cloud costs like $600 a year. It's a lot of software, and there's a lot that you can do with it. It is hard for me to sit here and say that that level of investment really needs to be made for what you guys are doing as a business in your day-to-day operations, because I just can't foresee a space where you will actually utilize all of that software on a regular basis. So yeah, the Premiere Pro is $20.99 a month. All of the apps are $52.99 a month. And it's, you know, I'm not going to tell you guys how to operate your business. And obviously, if you want to dream big and do all kinds of great stuff, more power to you. But I don't think this is where you need to invest that much. Like, Premiere Pro is going to do everything you need to, like I said, from basic stuff like I just did, all the way to that creative, elaborate stuff, all within that program. You don't need to think about incorporating things like Lightroom or Illustrator or things like that into your specific case. Because if you really want your videos that elaborate, I would just recommend hiring an editor at that point and having a professional handle it, because it's going to take a lot of time to learn all of that software suite to a level in which using them in a cross-platform manner is valuable. And B, you need a hell of a computer just to even talk about this. I really should have front-loaded with that. You need a graphic designer's computer to really manage all of that software cross program wise. So long drink of water for short drink of water, long walk. Just get Premiere Pro. If we plan fairly simple editing, is Premiere Pro overkill? No, I think that it is a great investment, as I just stated in that long rant, because it will do everything from what I just needed to do very simply, and with all of that extra added benefits built in. Or it will be as elaborate as you need it to be also. It's a valuable resource that I have been using for years. Again, I have some familiarity with programs like Corel. I have very little with iMovie, so it's hard for me to make that comparison. Some of my colleagues are teaching classes on iMovie specifically, so if you wanted to take the two to compare how editing works in them, that would be something to think about. Adobe Premiere Pro also is they have a mobile version of it as well. It is very comprehensive. It does do a lot of great stuff too. So if you wanted to edit directly on your phone like iMovie does, and if that's something you're thinking about, that is also an option available here. So hope that answers that question. I don't think it's overkill. If you want to use it, by all means, go for it. However, if you want to use a cheaper or a free alternative, by all means, do that as well. Wouldn't a gimbal do all this for you except the music? A gimbal is a device that will, like a Steadicam. Now, it may come with software that will edit stuff for you. I'm not too familiar with any of those kind of software. Again, this is an editing suite. A gimbal is a Steadicam. How can you string separate videos together? As I showed in that video clip, you would import separate videos by just dragging them into the sequence after you've created a sequence from your main video, and then it's just as simple as dragging those blocks next to each other. What is the cost? I already went over that, and there are tons of support classes that are offered in there. and tons of great support videos that I will link to in my recap. The phone that I have, in case anybody is wondering, is a Moto Z2. I like it because it's an Android and it has several attachments that you can add to the back. But that's just me. Please send the recording. I will send the recording. You are welcome, Paul. Glad you enjoyed, as always. Thank you for attending. If there are any other questions, please feel free to unmute yourself or type them into the chat. I will put, a handful of seconds on the clock. Again, if I didn't answer any of your questions that were up there, please feel free, Dave or Ann, to ask any clarifying questions. I will build, so I'll do a couple more of these 100 Adobe sessions. Again, tightening it up, getting it a little bit better until I've got that class master. And then after that, I will move on to a 101 and 102 that I am planning on that will get into some of the more detailed aspects of video editing in this software. If you want to get stuff looking to kind of what Jessica Wallace, for example, has in Santa Cruz, who I work with, or Willie Eagleton, or, if you want stuff kind of on that scale, we'll kind of build towards something like that. Again, we're just starting with the basics. We want to make sure everyone, this is totally manageable if you want to be able to do. And by all means, go out there and have fun. As always, this is stuff that you should have fun with. It shouldn't be stressful. If it's stressful, just get somebody else to do it for you. I hope everybody found this valuable. As always, in the recap, there will be a link to a survey